Welcome everyone to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka The Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Pseudo45.
Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah. We are back this week to bring us some new stuff with what's going on with us, and of course, don't forget, later this week, we're going to dive into our new video game book club game that we're playing, so be sure to look out for that. But, as always, let's take a look over at Preston's comment corner before we dive into our weeks.
All right, we got a handful of comments this past week, so let's bring it on around. Got a big one from Tori. Summer Games Fest. Okay, I'll limit my highlights to a few. The new Silent Hill trailer looks amazing and creepy, all rolled into one. Excited it's taking place in Japan. Wish listed and can't wait. Hello, new nightmares and fears unlocked. Yep, that one does look good. Who's it? The team that did the remake for 2, right?
Silent Hill 1. Yeah, Silent Hill 2 remake, yeah. It's Bloober Team again. Mm-hmm. We'll see, man. I'm cautiously optimistic. This is not an exaggeration because anybody can go look this up. Every single game that Bloober Team has made has been awful up until that remake. And so
I mean, that was a joke we all had in our league too. Christian and I talked about me counterpicking that last game, and it came out and did gangbusters.
I told
what
Alex,
the hell
and this
happened?
was genuine. It was genuine, but I told Alex, I said, if you counterpick this, it is almost assuredly going to be a slam dunk because Bloober Team is that bad. Their track record is awful. I was like, there's always a chance it could be good because it is Silent Hill 2. It's one of the best horror games that's ever been made. But if there's anybody who can fuck it up, it's them. And credit to them, they smashed it. And then they also, the lead, I think it was the lead director on that project or whatever, who also was the studio head, or he's somewhere up in management. But there was a quote floating around after that where he was like, "We're only making good games from now on."
Yeah, he said they were sick of making shitty games. Is literally what he said.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Since all the other ones were mostly self-published, there's no one on the hook for that except you, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Right on. So
glad you're trying. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It was so weird because it was it was definitely a point at the stands kind of moment, but it was just funny because you're like, my brother in Christ, no one controls that but you. All those other things that you made before this was not. No one made you do
games
that
before this. Is that what was going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It was I'm not sure, but
we'll see. They got their own story with this one, so we'll see.
Yeah, I am cautiously optimistic though. I hope that they learned a lot with the Silent Hill 2 remake, and hopefully they will crush this one, because I think having a good Silent Hill is cool because there's not many.
Yeah, why not?
So I am so far removed from that series. I think the last one I played, I couldn't even tell you. I'm not even gonna try and make a guess because I don't know where it's gonna fall. But there was the town of Silent Hill, right? And that people trapped on the other side sort of thing, and it took over. How far removed from that story
So far.
are we?
Very
so far.
Okay.
Because here's the thing is that, and I am not even a massive Silent Hill head, so grain of salt here, but my understanding of it is that Silent Hill 1 and 2 are relatively connected, to the town of Silent Hill and the fog and everything that happens there, right? Both of those games, though, were complete accidents as far as how they came together, the team that put it. There was even Team Silent, the teams that worked on those games, wasn't even an actual designated team with inside Konami. People people know of them as Team Silent, but it's not Konami never said hey, you guys are the people. It was just, and then not only that, but the director and all the, from the art design all the way down to the program, everything. It's sort of, despite Konami's sort of best efforts, it kind of just became its a success, became its own thing. And what ended up happening then was that because none of those people were actually on a team or anything like that, either people end up moving on because now once those games blow up, they want more money or they want a better whatever, and Konami was like, fuck you guys, like that's not happening because it's Konami. And so then like a lot of these people end up moving on, they do other things, like, but there's like some people that even like part of the original Silent Hill 2 squad that like people don't know even where they're at, what they're doing, like it's just they got exploded basically. From that point on, like every game after 2 to varying degrees is worse by some measure, whether it's
like,
a lot of it,
like
a little bit.
tells their own story sort of thing, like away
Yeah,
from...
it became, but I mean, like you even see it, right? Like Pyramid Head being everywhere doesn't even make sense within that game's own lore, because Pyramid Head is supposed to be a creation of inside James's head. That's it. Like,
but everyone creates that in their own head because it's a Silent Hill game. You got to have the fucking pyramid guy,
right? And so it's like that. There's like even the way to the way the town is constructed. Like as far as Silent Hill is concerned, every single piece of that is supposed to be a creation of the like protagonists, like
it's like their psyche,
trauma
doing, like,
or everything that's going on,
loss, yeah, something like that.
And so it's got all this stuff. But all of it has gone so far past what but like to the point where like there's even like original members of that team that like beg people not to talk to them about Silent Hill. Like the creator of Pyramid Head, like anytime somebody will be like find them on Twitter and then be like, "Yo, what's up with this lore? There's some new fan theories. What do you think?" And he'll be like, "Shut up! Please stop talking to me." Like, I wish I would have never created this thing. And I think if you have a fan base that pushes a creator of something that far to the edge, it should tell you where they're at as far as that franchise. Like, obviously the fans of that series are super hungry for more and better titles than they've gotten, and so they've latched onto these few that were good by accident and then overanalyze the fuck out of them until they have been completely wrung of joy, more or less. So I hope that they do good. I hope that this game comes out.
Sure.
I hope it's great, and I hope it's a fresh start almost. Like just let everything else just go. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who's ready to go back to Raccoon City? I wasn't expecting a new Resident Evil announcement, but I should be with 30th anniversary. I've been collecting all of them on Steam slowly, and the new trailer just encouraged me to pick up a few more in the Capcom sale happening now. Christian, do you think Leon will be in the new game? I have a lot of speculation around him being a main character or not, along with pre-Outrage if he is not. What do you think? Are you happy with the direction the new game is going from what has been shared so far? Also, a February 2026 release? I didn't think it would be that soon.
Yeah, I didn't think. I was surprised that it was that soon too. I think. So I agree. I'm happy with the way the story is going, only insofar as like I think it was time to be done with the Winters.
Sure.
Family. It's
thing,
okay.
Yeah.
I do think, although that being said, I know some people were iffy on it. I actually really liked the Rose DLC, like where we played it as his daughter with the powers and stuff. You guys played through that.
We watched you play the whole game.
Yeah. We played through it together. I really liked it. I thought it was cool. It was short, obviously, but but I thought it was sick. But it was time for Ethan to be done and that whole thing. I think that he served his purpose as far as like a reboot to the franchise, especially after 6 was so awful. I think that there's a solid chance that you will see. I don't think Leon will be the main character at all. But I think that in similar fashion to how Chris Redfield was all over 7 and 8, I think you will see Leon be like that in 9. Like I bet you he'll be a cameo of some sort. He'll be a part of it in some way. I don't think that he'll be a main character at all. But I think he'll be like how Chris shows up in 7 and 8.
Yeah, sure.
I'm trying to think. The only other thing is that's what I was going to say. I am a little bummed. I'm happy that we're getting a new Resident Evil. I'm excited for it. It'll be fun. I was really bummed that they did not announce the remake of 5, only because I am so, just because I know 5 and everything, and how good the remakes have been, to be fair. Yes, because 5 is the only, like, because here's the thing. 1 through 4 are easy slam dunks for remakes, right?
Sure.
Like there's no issues with any of those games. I know some people don't like how short 3 is and whatever. I don't really care. I think 3's perfect. But and Jill's a fantastic protagonist. But for all those other games, I think that they're easy slam dunks, right? Like you remake them and the story is good, the environments are great, the bosses are great, and so that you just fucking put a new coat of paint on it and then print money, right? Same thing with 4. 4 is widely regarded as one of the most perfect video games ever, and so they remake that one, print money. 5, so then 6, the problem with 6 is that 6 isn't bad in the way that 5 is. 6 is just mediocre. Like, it's just a mediocre game that got away from Capcom when Capcom was still pushing out duds. And so...
Which one was 5? What was the subtitle of that one? Or was it just 5?
There's no subtitle.
It's just 5.
The location is the main, or the people involved as far as the infected are concerned.
Yes, the game is notoriously racist. Like...
Oh. That's the co-op one.
This is the one... Yeah, this is the one where it takes place in Africa. And so it had, like, let's just say the most caricature take that you could on Africa and things like that. There's original trailers that Capcom had to take down and remove and, like, redo because it's just like a woof, yikes. And it's always been this thing where, like, even like it was, and we have to remember back when 5 came out, like the world tolerated a lot of problematic things, and even at the time when 5 got announced, everybody was like, guys, this is, I don't know, are we sure? And Capcom had to like roll things back and change certain things, and even then it didn't help at all. It's still rough. But the thing is that game played so well, especially from a co-op perspective, that it has this thing where if you're playing through Resident Evil games, people will be like, yeah, just play 1 through 5, but then, like, you know, just kind of close your eyes when you play 5. Just enjoy it, but, like, don't look too hard, because when you look even at a passing glance, it becomes rough. And so, but because of how well they've done with these remakes, I was like, God, I can't wait for them to get to 5. Like, what do you do? Like, how are you going to fix this? Like,
you have to redo so much of it.
Yeah, dude. Like, you basically have to make a new fucking game almost. And so I'm like, I don't know. You know, what do you do? Like, I don't know. So, and then obviously the co-op aspect of it too. That game has you either, if you're playing single player, running around with an AI partner the entire time, or, you know, with a second person. And, like, gaming has changed so much since then that that's not even, like, really a thing that much anymore. Obviously, Take-Two is... not Take-Two, but... what's the development studio behind Brothers, the It Takes-Two, the Prison Break one?
Split Break.
It's Joseph whatever, but do you know what
Joseph Ferris's company. I don't remember. You just played Split Fiction, Alex. You'd be the closest one to know.
I don't know the studio name.
But Joseph Ferris, it's his team. So like
he's
that team is making better strides at, you know, trying to bring that sort of co-op stuff back and things like that. But there's really not that many examples outside of their games. So it'd be cool to see that come back too and see what they do with that. But I was mad because I was like, God, I want to see this so bad. Like, I just want to know what you're gonna do.
I'm sure they'll get it sooner or later.
And so for them to go like, we're going to do 9 just makes me think that they're, even in the background, they're like, fuck, we are working on whatever this might become. So it was, yeah. But I am excited. I think 9 will be cool.
Finally, can we
I don't know much.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I don't know much about that series at all beyond 1. And then when the ones that have the subtitles, like 7, Biohazard, and 8, like, that's when they kind of got that stylized reboot, in the sense that, like, you know, they each had that own little thing. That's when I paid attention again. So I don't know much about that franchise at all, because you guys know me, like, horror spoopy games are not my jam, and the few that I played were Silent Hill. So.
Yeah, I just know because I've just recently played through them all. Like, I never played Resident Evil was not my thing, mostly because of the tank controls and things. So like I had friends that played through, like that I was around whenever they were playing through 4 and 5 and things like that. And I had played like a little bits of 1 when I was younger, just because it was, I wanted to see what it was about. And honestly, tank controls back then did not bother me because most games were.
That's what everybody knew. Yeah.
Speaking of, we'll come into that for this week's book club. But yeah, so when I was playing through those, like I only had like a passing information. It was only up until they started doing all those remakes that I was like, finally, I can fucking experience these games. So now I know 1 through 4 and then 7 and 8. 5 is the only one I haven't played, and then I'll never play 6, but it's okay because 6 is never going to do anything. That will be the only game they never touch.
Yeah, they'll probably retcon that one, yeah.
They didn't know.
Timeline.
Yeah. So
if I remember correctly, that's the one that they kind of brought in like everyone together, and it's supposed to be the finale of Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, and the problem with that is the way they tried to do it was they bring all these people in, and then they add I think Wesker's child or something is somehow tied into that or whatever. He has a son that does, and there's also an anime that's tied into this too, and they basically turned it into they tried to retrofit it felt like the same engine of Devil May Cry 4, but they just kind of pushed Resident Evil stuff all over it, and because it was out in that same generation anyway. But you do that and people run, it's you just, as you're playing, I never played it, but I just know, and I watched some stuff, but it was just this thing where you if you looked at that and then even looked at something like 4 or all the way back at original 1 or anything like that, you'd go, how the fuck did you guys get here? This is basically an action game that has supers in it now, and what are we doing? This is not, which is why 7 was such a huge thing, right? The franchise had to be rebooted or else it was never going to recover from 6, and so it was why people love 7 so much. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Okay. I am excited for 9 though. I think it's gonna be great.
All right, finally, can we discuss Game Freak and their new game, Beast of Reincarnation? You're telling me the people behind Pokemon can make something that looks like that? Insert everyone's Pokemon rant here. I'm sorry, what? But if they can deliver anything like what the trailer gave us, this could turn out to be a very impressive game. Hopefully it lived up to the trailer at launch, or better, because it looks like one I want to pick up. Yeah, we'll see what they do. Hopefully it runs properly and doesn't, get bugged out and fucking lose frame rates and shit like Pokemon games. But we'll see. This is going to be for me to tell, hey, did Nintendo fuck those Pokemon games up, or has Game Freak been fucking up those Pokemon games?
I think Game Freak has been grifting everyone.
Oh, yeah?
I think they have they have such a franchise on their hands and no people will buy, that they also understand they can put so little resources toward it and still print money, that they have been grifting everyone to be this is the best we do. And now they've made a game that they really want to make that I have a feeling will probably run well. I'll be surprised if it runs.
Sure, it could also be the system and stuff. Yeah,
Arceus did. I bet it runs well, and to me that just says they know. Mm-hmm. They know.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I will say this. I personally think this game will tell you what the actual truth is here, because
yeah, for sure.
Game Freak they do have a handful of other games that they've made outside of Pokemon. Not very many, but they have Pocket Card Jockey and different things, right? Though the way that Pokemon games come out is that is decided by Nintendo, obviously, because they're the publisher, they're the ones paying for it. Depending on how this game comes out and how the quality is, I agree with Tori, actually. I think that either Game Freak will be completely vindicated because somebody else is paying for it and just letting them take time and do what they need to do, or you'll be regardless, I don't think Nintendo's ever clean in this, but it will at least be a shared blame, to Alex's point of they just do it because fuck you and it doesn't matter. I think it's probably me personally. I think that it'll land there. I think that it's probably just Nintendo and Game Freak get into a meeting and they go in there and they say, hey, let's make a new Pokemon game. We'll ship it by X date, and let's be honest, that's probably pretty quick, but who gives a fuck because it's going to print money anyway. That's probably what happens. That being said, if this game comes out as a slam dunk, you'll never be able to hear Game Freak slander again, and it would just be solely at Nintendo for allowing something like that to happen.
So what is Game Freak? Are they still doing the Pokemon games as just another bit of their studio has done this contract, or did something happen between them and the contract of Pokemon?
No, I mean Game Freak's huge, so my guess is that they have like a Pokemon team.
They just
they probably just peeled people off and said go make something. Like I'm sure
we got a contract with this company. Go make another game.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Different divisions,
so
different teams.
Mm-hmm. I think
I would assume they have multiple Pokemon teams.
Oh yeah,
just working on
multiple
Pokemon games.
Well, I know they have at least two. They have there's like
Arceus
the team that does some of the mainlines one,
yeah.
and there's like the Legends team that does the separate ones. So they have those two teams. I'm sure they have enough people that spin off, but
I'm sure.
Yeah, I do think that trailer is so funny for that game because you see Game Freak and then you see what's going on. You're just like, what the fuck is happening? But then. The funnier part is that as soon as... So, like, they show the trailer for the game, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, what the fuck is this game? And then it fades to black and it says Game Freak. And then it goes back into the footage. And it's so funny. If you go back to the show, I made a comment to Preston when we were watching it. I'm sure you can still find it on the stream VOD. But as soon as the Game Freak logo comes back up, or after it fades away and the footage comes back up, the frame rate tanks.
Yeah.
And you're like, well,
looks about right. Yeah.
That is the Game Freak special.
Checks out.
That does make sense.
Checks out.
Yeah. Now,
Definitely
obviously, it's early
game.
footage still, but it's so funny that you see this footage and you're like, God damn, what is going on with this game? And then it's like Game Freak, and you're like, huh? And then the frame rate's like, brrr, and you're like, well.
Yeah.
Which is funny because most people finesse that stuff to where you don't see that in launch trailers.
Ones have the drops. Yeah.
I will say that's consistent across all their games. Game Freak, no matter whatever trailer they put out, if it shows frame rate slowdown, they're like, "Yep, that's what you're getting." So
yeah, at least they're not shying away from it. So, all right.
That's funny.
All in all, I think the different showcases we had showed off a lot of cool games to come and a wide variety of games to come. I was impressed and gave it new excitement in gaming. Not sure though how exciting my bank account will be. P.S. Jurassic World Evolution 3. Give me baby dinosaurs. I'm a sucker for dinosaurs and zoo builder games. Who doesn't love accidentally letting the T-Rex out of their enclosure and they terrorize park guests? Till next time, Tori. Thank you, Tori.
Man, I love that comment because I'm also in the process right now of reading Jurassic Park. So Allie and her book club, they picked Jurassic Park.
Dude.
She hasn't watched it forever, so we rewatched it, but I've seen it. I own it. I've seen it 100 times. I've never read the book, and I love Michael Crichton stuff. Like I've done Congo. I've done
Michael
Sphere is one of my
Crichton?
favorites.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, Michael Crichton. So the book right now is great.
You know what?
I actually like it better than the movie.
You know what I liked is that it starts off the same way the second movie starts off with like that the family.
Thank
on the
you.
beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I told Allie before we rewatched the first one. I was like, correct me if I'm wrong, because again, we'll watch the movie this weekend. And I haven't seen it in a while. But I think that's how number 2 starts off. And then we watched the movie. I was like, yep, that is how number 2 starts off. So,
number 2 starts off the way the book does for the first one. So
yeah.
I will say that first movie still holds up though. I love that.
Oh, so good.
Movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
second
good.
one's not that bad.
So we'll watch.
But the first one is still a
No, the first
dunk.
one is peak. Yeah.
She just finished it. I'm gonna finish the book. Then we'll watch The Lost World. I didn't realize Michael Crichton did write The Lost World as well, but then stopped. So what I'm interested to see is because there's already stuff from the book in movie 2, if there's stuff in the third Jurassic Park in the book 2, or is going on from like 3 or all the way till the end, or just like made up stories, and that's how we get. Is that how do we get to the point where we are now, where Scarlett Johansson is a commando in the woods of another Jurassic World?
The imagination and the want of money from Universal, whoever it is, that's what's gotten us to that point. That's what that's happening.
No, that's what I mean. Like, is it just from 3 on? It was just random.
I think so. It's just
money
let's make dinosaur in real world movies.
Yeah.
All right. Another comment from Jake. Thanks again for letting me offer my expertise. Question. I keep seeing ads for Resonance, a Plague Tale Legacy. Can you guys talk about this? Any idea what it's about? It didn't look like the other Plague Tale games. And this is me inserting, I didn't see any rats. Are you excited for it? I know at least Alex played those games too. So if you guys know anything about that, I don't remember seeing the trailer for it, but I remember like being like, okay, this looks like an interesting game. Like there's a Plague Tale Legacy. I'm like, I didn't see anything that would have said Plague Tale to me in that trailer.
So
yeah, I
played them too. Alex and I played them too.
Yeah.
I think the ending of that second one, there's definitely some like weird sort of like stuff they do. I think what they're doing now is sort of doing an anthology in that universe now.
Okay, so like side
That's
story.
What it seems like to me. Yeah, because like Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like they do like some weird like spirit world stuff at the end there, and like some timeline shit. I think I remember.
They do, and we all know the plague is going on across more than just the place we are, because they you know, this followed them from like England to where were we, like Italy or something in the second one.
Yeah,
there was some weird spiritual stuff because we kind of go where the brother is like, you know, the core of this darkness is coming like from. We kind of go like he's like the seed of this darkness and he's controlling it. We kind of go into where that is and stop it. I don't remember timeline stuff. I just remember
I'm vague.
that,
I'm just thinking at the
yeah. I just remember that being like he was like the seed of the plague and the darkness. But I don't. From what I saw in that trailer briefly, like I felt the same way. There was nothing there to me that tied it back to the Plague Tale that we know. So I don't know how to answer that question. Because, like, yeah, I got the same vibe. I was like, what part of this is Plague Tale? And I meant to actually go back and Google more. I just didn't, beyond maybe the studio and the team, like, what more of it is similar. I don't know. Nothing felt similar to me.
Yeah, I think they're doing I think it's supposed to be like an anthology deal.
Set in the world, but not dealing with the events of,
Yeah, I think it's just supposed to be like, hey, it's going to be in this universe, so there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It looks... It looked interesting in the way that like it looked different, and I liked the name Plague Tale, but I also wasn't captivated completely by the trailer. So there wasn't anything. There's nothing I saw Plague Tale. And I was like, I got to go play that. I was like, oh, that's just very odd. I don't know what you're going for. So,
all right. Next up is one from Mr. Michael. This will be proof that Michael will not always have my back. So if you guys need proof of that, here it is. I don't think I would have liked it anyways, but yes. Borderlands absolutely ruined Ain't No Rest for the Wicked and any prospect for me enjoying anything else from Cage the Elephant's discography. So,
Shout
there
out
you
to
go.
You, King.
Thanks for chiming in, Michael. Couldn't have my back on this one, could you? No. I'll be over here in my own little corner enjoying Cage the Elephant. It's fine. Lastly... What was that?
Sorry if you see me. Sorry if I said, yeah, you will be. Sorry if I also look like I'm looking all over the place. Apparently a storm just decided to roll in out of nowhere, and these huge Georgia pines out of my window
just like bending
are leaning way too far for what feels comfortable right now. Like, and then I looked out my side window where I have a tree. Like, half the tree is on my front window and half the tree's on my side window, and the part that's on my side window is gone. Like, the wind's blowing it so hard over, it just wasn't even in my window. So I was just like, where did this just
get disconnected? We'll know why. All right. Lastly, from Damien, I want to expand on the thrice comment a little more here, Alex. Admittedly, I did not listen to them back in the day. I just don't remember really getting exposed to them.
Comment done. That's all we need.
More of that.
No, I'm just kidding.
I just don't remember really getting exposed to them. That being said, that band absolutely rips. I dare even say the guitar riffs they wrote can easily be traced to what would influence later punks and metal/metalcore bands. I hear riffs that you could hear bands like, and I'm pretty sure I know who this is, A7X. Is that Avenged Sevenfold?
It is, yeah.
Or As I Lay Dying, using a few years later.
You know, I love
how
popular.
Damien's brain works with this stuff because he will hear a band and then he'll just be like, not like his brain immediately. I sometimes I think that before he even gets to enjoy it, his brain has to analyze it first, and then he gets to enjoy it. Like he's like,
I'm sure.
Yeah, he's like that, like where he's talking about what it's like and everything. Like I'm sure. I feel like it's like a Rain Man thing is happening, where it's like all these like numbers and equations things are happening across his brain, and he's like, okay, I'm placing this here in the overall timeline of music, and this is where, like, here's all the things that they must have been influenced by, and here's all the things that they went on to influence, and then now I can enjoy this.
Also, I know Avenged Sevenfold, people view them as kind of like that butt-rocky Nickelback version of
I liked them a lot back in the day.
They are. Bro, before that guy tore out his vocal cords more than once because he doesn't know how to scream, they rocked.
Yeah,
that's all I'm
the whole like backcountry.
I will say this: yeah. I think that
they rocked.
There are 3 records that they made, and this will probably get Damien to comment because I'm sure he'll be pissed at me. There are 3 records that are good. There is the first 2, which I think are just absolute bangers, front to back.
Yeah.
The third one is the White album that's like a self-titled one. That one is still good, but there's songs on there that I think are instant skips. Like, you can see... I think that part of... There is the whole vocal cord thing, but I honestly think that part of it was that... I think sometimes this just happens to bands, right? Like, this is not like a dig, but like, sometimes you get so big and so successful that you start to just be like, I'll just... Like, either you go one way where it's like, I'll just make whatever, and if people like it, great. If they don't, whatever. And there's other thing that's like, I think sometimes people just look around and they're like, yo, we're just kind of like a mainstream band now. So that's what we'll do. And they just make
this type of music over and over.
I think
and you can see some songs like that in that third record that are like more of the sort of like soft, I guess softer is kind of a weird word, but like the radio rock, kind of thing. And they just like, you do it and it becomes very popular and people love it because it's just like a general sort of, like no disrespect, like it's just not my kind of thing, but people really like that music and it's very popular and it blows up, and then you get to a band like to a point like Nickelback or whatever, like what you were saying, Alex, is like, even that, like, it obviously it's not for me, but like those boys print money. Like, you can't...
People like them. People pay them money for stuff.
Like, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to listen to it, but, like, clearly fucking millions of people... Someone's tuning in. Someone's out there buying those fucking songs all the time. Like,
I think there's another part of that, too, that could come into play, which is when you're that big and you have expectations of timelines, kind of like we talked about with Pokemon a minute ago, where you have to release albums so often because maybe you're not... You don't have your own studio. And back when they were popular... Like, having your own studio or own record label, sorry, that should use the proper terminology. Having your own record label wasn't really a thing, right? That it can become a chore to try and write songs, right? Like, if you have to write it on a timeline and stuff sometimes, it could be...
But if you're a writer, I think you have a big book full of shit that you can pull from, and, like, you are making new music in the way, but, like...
One of their band members died, too, so it's hard to know what his influence on the writing was.
Sure.
It was
right?
Drummer,
In those early...
he overdosed,
Yeah, and drummer, who knows? Probably didn't write that much, but still.
You don't know. Drummers.
Yeah, you're just going to don't engage with that, Preston. I don't know why you even are letting him do that. And Damien, before you start typing, just hit the backspace key.
Just let go.
Look at Alex's face and then realize that there's nothing to comment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I don't know. There's certain bands that are so big, like, especially depending on the record label they're on. Yes, there are record labels who put like, hey, you've got this many years and we want this many albums from you, and blah 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 blah. But a lot of times there's also, from the bands that end up taking that mainstream jump or whatever, because the music industry is fucking dead anyway. Like, the record labels, like, they kind of don't have like, they can say, hey, I want this record out, but like, if I'm the only person that's on your fucking label that's basically funding this whole thing,
it'll be done.
Like, shut up. It'll be done when it's done. But
I mean, the internet has changed that. Before that, though, that wasn't. I don't think that was much of an option.
No, but I think, like, they still, like, outside of their first 2 records, like from the self-titled one on, like, iTunes was still like a huge, like, people were already getting their music digitally and doing things like that. Now, obviously, streaming has, like, completely already pulled the trigger on the music industry. But by then, it was already in a weird spot where people were, especially with, like, piracy and things like that, it was already a thing that the music industry couldn't handle. Like, you can do the whole, oh, we sued Napster, and it was like, okay, cool, you sued Napster. There's 15 other million sites now that are hosting your music that you can't stop. And so, by then, I think that it was just, I think it was, at that point, the music industry was still dying as opposed to being dead completely. But yeah, that band, I think you have 3 good records, or 2 good records and 1 okay one, and then after that it's,
Sure.
bye-bye.
Yep.
But
yep.
I'm not gonna argue that one.
All right.
That's comments.
Cool. All right. Who wants to kick things off for their week?
I can kick it off.
yeah, go for it, dude.
Okay.
All right, so I got a couple remaining demos that I didn't get to last week. So Christian had a bid recommend I thought was a pretty good one. That's called Dead as Disco. This is kind of like a rhythm fighter beat 'em up kind of game. It's very, very cool. It does very well. It's very stylized. Now, I don't know if it was just because it's an early build. It's not even like given a release date or year yet. I felt like some of the hits were a little off when it came to like it didn't feel as good as Hi-Fi Rush when I was making the combos to the beats type of deal. Put it that way.
Sure.
It didn't feel like it leaned into it as much. It felt like you were doing combos, and the animations were trying to match the music.
But yes.
Was that?
So Hi-Fi Rush is a AAA game, so yes, but
Sure.
I know what you mean.
Well, yeah, but even so, like I just feel like it's trying to do that. The animation is trying to tie into the music rather than your hits are tying into the music. So, but I had a lot of fun with it. It's super stylized. It felt good. Like it has that like Batman Arkham type of a combat to where it's like you have the button to counterattack, and no matter what you're doing when you're fighting, if you press that button, it'll snap over and do some type of counterattack to the other person. So it felt really good. And
I really like that.
Yeah, it was super stylized. So I mean, if you haven't played it at all yet, Alex, there's a demo on Steam. It's pretty fun.
No, of course it's just gonna slow down.
Yeah.
Just that.
I'm like, yeah, but it's a breeze. Good job. Yeah.
It's...
I also played Dispatch demo. That one's really good. That game does come out this year. It's from the people who made like.
Thank
Tales
you
of
for
Borderlands.
reminding me. I'm gonna put that to download right now.
Yeah, it's super short. Like, just play it. Like,
you played it already.
No, I told you the other day.
Trailer.
I watched the trailer that you sent. I said that's an instant download. I that looks incredible, but I forgot to go to my computer and download
from
it.
the person who did Wolf Among Us, Tales of the Borderlands, Walking Dead, those Telltale kind of series. Like those people are out doing this one, and it's very good. So those games can be kind of hit and miss for me as far as the Telltale games. But when I got into this one, super big on personality. The writing is incredible. The character design is really good. I know that Jake really likes that one character. Is like Karlach meets Magic from X-Men. But then I recognize the voice. That's Alana Pierce, and Alana Pierce is doing the voice for it. So you got like, a bunch of like recognizable names in there too, probably.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, but it's really good. I enjoyed it. It's you're playing a dispatcher, like a not retired hero, but like some like Mech Man lost his suit. You're a Mech Man, and now you're working dispatch for superheroes. And you're getting calls. You're dispatching your group of 6 to 7 heroes.
Such a funny concept.
Based off their stats and stuff like that, and they're chirping over the dispatch the entire time as they're going back and forth. One of them hates you. He starts a fire. You're like, "Fucking, did you do this?" He's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And he runs off. Like, "Fuck, your hero's even causing problems for you." So there's a lot of fun to be having that. It's gonna be a day one for me. It'll be a lot of fun to do that one. But yeah, check it out if you haven't. Dispatch. Take a look. Been playing a lot of Vampire Survivors recently. I just had it re-downloaded. Been doing a lot of it while I'm like watching. CEO just happened, so I've been watching that in the background. A bunch of stuff here and there. But then I just remembered after a week of playing Vampire Survivors again, like, oh shit, they had that Ode to Castlevania DLC. I'm like, let's just take a look at that. It was like $4. I'm like, yeah, let's just download it. Fuck it, because I probably had my best run on Vampire Survivors yet, to the point to where death came for me. So this is you get to be about
really?
You get to about the 30-minute mark. So like I have it to where I am just like I got the proper build going, I got all the weapons I want, all of them are maxed out. Like anytime I open up a chest or level up, it's like, do you want gold or do you want, I forget what the other one was, but essentially it's just like, do you want currency or do you want the other thing, like, or health? Currency or health. Like you can have one of those two. You can't upgrade anymore because my slots are all taken up. All those weapons are upgraded to max. So like the screen gets to the point to where it's just the larger elite enemies, and they're all surrounding you, and they're covering the entire screen. Like, you are not seeing an inch of the map on there. And it's just, you're surrounded. My weapons are all doing its work, so I just got this little circle around me that's just kind of keeping the monsters at bay. And then I'm at about 40 seconds till I get to the 30-minute mark. I'm like, man, I'm going to get the 30-minute mark. It's going to be great. Fucking death rolls in. And death is just lightning fast, pushes through all the enemies, and it stays on top of you. So luckily, I got killed by him, and I had a revive left. I'm like, ooh, I got a revive left. How do I do this? I don't have anywhere to run. Like, I'm entirely surrounded by enemies. Like, anywhere I go is just going to be automatic death. So I got to 29 minutes and, like, 42 seconds. I was pretty pissed I didn't get the full 30-minute run, but apparently that's what happens when you get closer to, like, the 30-minute mark. There's like, no, you shouldn't be playing this game for this long. We're just going to bring death to you, and you're just going to die.
There's no way to beat it per se, like a run. It always ends and you die.
It escalates and escalates until there's a point to where, like, you're no way your weapon's going to keep up. And if you do get it to where your weapons keep up, then death comes in and just stops you anyways, because he's unkillable. Interesting. So I'm not sure.
There's no way to kill him. Did you look it up?
I'm pretty sure there probably is. I haven't looked it up yet because that was the first time I even reached my 30-minute mark. So I haven't had that in, like, the couple years I've been playing this game. I've never had it to where I've got it to the point where, like, hey, my character could just stand still, and I would have zero issues with getting to the 30-minute mark. But it's
how salty are you going to be if Christian looks us up right now and you can either beat the game by A, making it to 30 minutes, or B, just killing death?
I was gonna say there's something there. I guarantee there's some way to kill death, possibly. I just don't know what it is. But hey man, it took me this long to get to the 30-minute mark to find out that death even arrives. That was pretty interesting. But yeah, went through it all.
Oh, that's actually so cool.
What's that?
Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to
just go ahead and tell me. I'm gonna look
it
it up anyways. Yeah.
So they're saying, after you can defeat death. Once you kill him, players will face multiple death duplicates, and then eventually White Death, who is the true final boss, who is unkillable.
Okay, I'll have to see what it takes to kill
him.
So
it is like, if you've maxed out everything so good, got a meta that you're killing death.
You need a specific meta to do so. I guarantee
we will stop you.
Because the meta that I had, like, all my weapons were maxed out, all my slots were maxed out. So, like, I couldn't add anything to it. It wasn't able to give me anything extra.
It says if you use the Infinite Corridor and a Crimson Shroud combination.
I haven't even heard those weapons yet.
That will allow players to kill death with ease. Apparently.
Okay, well, so if you get certain weapons that are combinations that can unlock other weapons, because I unlocked a couple new weapons during that 30-minute playthrough, I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you max out these two items, then you can find this item, which will take the place of those two, and yeah, it's pretty cool like that. But yeah, played a little bit of the Ode to Castlevania version of it. Nice little $4 DLC. Brand new map. All the sounds are in there, so when you pick up the health, it sounds like you're picking up health in Castlevania. You can unlock all the characters. So, like, I think right now I'm looking for, I think it's Leon. Essentially, you got to find, like, the graves or, like, the tombstones with them in it, and once you find them, you unlock the characters. But it starts you outside of the castle. You're running around just hitting little zombies and stuff like that, and then you go into the castle. And then once you get to a certain part of the castle, there's like a little red circle with like some glyphs on it. You touch that, it spawns in a boss from Castlevania, and you have to fight the boss to unlock the next part of the castle, which I'm assuming has more characters, more weapons and stuff you can find throughout there. So it's fun. It's a good little time passer when I'm wanting to put something in the background, like a fighting game tournament, and have a little game session as well. It's good to do. So, and then lastly, your boy has finished part 2 of Clair Obscur.
Hell yeah.
Expedition Trois Trois. And it's very, very good, guys. I'm not going to give any spoils. I will probably have it finished by next week. So I'm sure we'll do like a spoiler cast at the very end of the weekly prologue. But it's phenomenal. It's great. I'm playing as story mode. They made it actually even a little bit easier than the last patch. I think they gave like a better parry window and stuff like that. I was doing okay with the parry window I had, so I kind of wish there was like a little in between of story and what I have now, but it's no big deal. I'm going through it. I'm not trouncing the bosses. Like, I'm not like skipping phases or anything like that. I'm still having a good time with the game. It's just I'm not getting like one hit killed. I'm not getting like, just completely destroyed because I missed one parry. Now I'm doing like, okay, I can miss a couple parries. They get the hits in, and it's fine. I just don't get the counterattack with it, but now I'm having a lot of fun with it. The twist at the end of Act 2, holy fuck. Like I said, we'll get into that next week. But I did have one question for you guys. There's Pictos in here, which are like your passive skills that you get, and you can put up to 3 on your characters. You get a very important one when you finish that boss at the end of Act 2. And then I found out that you can do something called Mastery for Pictos, which allows any of your members to use that Picto.
Have you been going through... Preston, that's like...
Without... You only have to do 4 fights, and that'll master every Picto you have.
Yeah, that tutorial is at the very beginning of the game.
Well, I didn't remember that, and I don't think I've mastered any. I don't think I've mastered any of these because I've been through 4 fights.
No, you mastered. You had to have mastered whichever one you have equipped because if you do four successful fights, you master it.
Because I don't think it's doing that for me.
It is.
They turns blue in the
because I got it,
white.
And I've been going around the overworld, going to different bosses and stuff like that. I've had 4 battles with that Picto, and anytime I choose another character with that Picto, it says, "Do you want to swap?"
So where are you? Okay. So what happens when you master them is, I swear to God, this better not be new to you at the end of Act 2. So you have the Pictos, the 3 that you can equip, right? And then on the menu screen, on the bottom right-hand side, you have Lumia. You have all those Lumia points.
So I've been spending those points. Because you can go to your characters and you can choose what to put them in. And I thought that was just like adding points to like upgrade your vitality and stuff like that.
The colors do, but the Lumia points you can have. So like your character, Mael, you have 3 equipped Pictos, but if you go into Lumia, you can turn on like 8 more.
Here's
like,
what we're gonna do. We're gonna end this.
What did you just?
Now it makes more sense why you were getting fucking demolished in the beginning of this game.
Well, it's not gonna help my parrying timing.
No, but it would help. It would help your health. It would help your defense. It would make it so that when you do miss and you are trying to learn the pattern, you aren't getting fucking wombo comboed the entire time.
Yeah, that's what was happening.
Or you can get things where like
stream
you can
screen,
shoot,
and then after this you'll put your screen on, and Alex and I will get you right as rain.
Okay, yeah, we'll walk through this.
You could be making fights so much faster. You beat the boss.
I can't even believe you made it. You have been
in story mode. Don't forget.
Easy.
Yeah.
You have been playing on story mode. That being said,
still it's hard mode.
Yes, it's like you. It's like you're playing on story mode, but like doing like a Dark Souls level 0 no level up run.
No,
like,
they're leveling up. If that's how I'm leveling up, I'm leveling up the weapons. Like they're getting leveled up.
General
I
level,
know.
but you haven't been doing anything else. I
got a lot of Pictos and not very many characters.
I bet you fucking do. I bet you fucking do.
Yeah, a lot of unequipped Pictos are in there. So yeah, we'll talk about that after this other show.
Wild.
Hey.
Wild.
I'm enjoying the game.
There
I
is
didn't
no
notice.
one on this earth that plays games like you. That's all. That is unbelievable how long you went. I would have quit. I would have been like, I would have texted us and been like, guys, this game sucks. I don't know.
This is example number 2 of this week alone that we have learned. Preston also has been skipping tutorials and not reading recently.
Okay, well, first we'll talk about this in Tomb Raider, but they did not tell you about this is going to load up the load page instead of the save page first.
They don't. That's true. They don't.
Christian told me that, but I don't need to have a friend tell me that before I play the fucking game. The game should tell me.
They do, and I'll tell you where it is when we get there this week. But Christian also told you before you ever started up the game.
He did, but he told me like a week before I played it.
The game, does describe the save system. It does not tell you that it's going to move the menu over one. That's the thing you find out on your own.
Because as an RPG boy and someone who's been playing Claire Obscura, I love to just jump in there and let's toss a save in real quick. So, yeah, we'll talk about it.
I played it that same night, and I told everybody.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he said 2 things. Same night, change the controls and be careful.
But okay.
But he told us the same.
I know, but that was a week ago, and I didn't think about it when I was playing it. You know me with spoilers. You can tell me spoilers on something, because I'll forget about it the next fucking week.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Amazing. All right.
But that's my week.
Is that your?
That is my week.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll go next. Or I don't care. Christian, do you have strong opinions on it? I only played 1 game.
Let me go. The only reason I say that is because I want to just piggyback off some of the demos that Preston talked about, because I had some, and I got my
Steam page,
the wish list. Yeah, the wish list pulled up for the ones. So there was the Dead as Disco game that Preston, that I was telling everybody about. That game looks fucking incredible. I'm so excited. like I played it and I did like 2 stages, and I was like, yep, okay, cool. I don't show me anymore. I don't want to see anymore. I don't just. It's like kind of like a Hades 2 thing. Like just I'll see you when
taste
the
it
game's out.
and then I'm like,
Goodbye.
okay, yep, that's right, that's good. I'm good till it's done.
So and then there was the Dispatch demo, which Alex, I can't wait for you to play.
Yeah, it's really good.
I
Up
like
your alley.
you. Yeah, like I know you have loved those Telltale games.
Telltale
like,
games, yeah.
Yeah, and even more than I have. So, but I was like, when I saw which ones they did, I was like, oh, I know people really like the writing on those last couple ones. So I was like, so we'll see. Hopped in, and I was like, just. I was in love with it. It was great. Like they nailed this line, but
Yeah. I say, is Steam Deck capable, or do I need to be in front of my computer? Because the demo just says Windows, but I don't know what.
I think it's Steam Deck capable. I think
So,
it's fine because even
it
if
should
you
be
can still
fine,
do touch, but
because there is controller support as well. So yeah, I play with controller, so it's easily done with that.
If so, then I'll try it tonight.
Yeah, it's not graphically like taxing on it for sure. So
Okay.
no. And you can always do touch if you wanted to for like some of the choices, whatever.
Yeah.
It's very short. The demo's maybe
Super.
like 30 to 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's very
Okay.
short. But it nails the fucking line for me between like what I think is like dumb like humor and like or trying to be edgy for edgy's sake, but then like but then also like they kind of like nail that between like a wholesome comedy thing. Like it's very good.
Jeffrey Wright's there cursing
writing
up a storm, but then it's also it just feels good. Like, it's not like overdone.
Yeah.
It's not Borderlands level of story.
Yeah. Like they nail like at first the way they sort of talk about it, like there's a couple moments in the beginning where I was like, oh, I really don't know about this, and then but it becomes very sincere as it's on, like as far as like no, we're not trying to be edgelords, like it's nope, like we're good, we're just having a laugh, and you're like, okay, cool, and then as it goes on, it's way better. I thought it was great. The other one was Baby Steps. So I don't know if you guys have seen this.
I've heard of it. What? Yeah.
This is the next joint from the dude who did like Up, it's Up, and then some other. He's done Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, like that whole thing. It's his next game, and it was okay. So the trailer, if you look, it basically looks like a full 3D version of like QWOP, if you guys remember that browser game, the QWOP, where each one controls like a different part of the. Preston, you've seen this during the break screens at GDQ,
the track
where there's like the guy who's like trying to run.
Yeah.
That's QWOP. That's what that game is. And so it's all these people, like you're trying to press Q, W, and OP to control the different parts of a leg to like make them step forward, and it's a thing. This sort of simplifies it by saying like, no, the left stick leans the character forward or puts the like leg forward, and then you are just holding left or right trigger to make the steps work, and that's it. And your objective is to get over there. But the writing was so fucking funny and well done, and like it's just I'm super excited for it. I was not like when I saw the Getting Over It thing, and it was very much like a I would call it like a streamer bait game where it was like, oh, people will tune in to watch somebody. Now I don't think that's how this creator originally meant it for, because there's obviously if you actually watch or like look at the writing as far as the story of Getting Over It, it's like a very wholesome story that's very nice, but it turned into a streamer bait game of like somebody getting very close and then missing and then falling all the way back to the beginning of the game, and then they freak out and punch their setup, and this seems like it's trying to remove a lot of that by having there be a lot more story beats that happen in between these different things. Like I probably got stopped in this demo by someone talking to me like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 times. Like it was a lot, like as I was walking. There was a moment though where I was walking across this little area, my fucking foot slipped, and I fall into this thing, and it just slides you all the way back down, and the character's just like, oh shit, and like you're just like bouncing around, and the entire time I'm just looking at the screen like, You son of a bitch. Like, and it's just, you're like, all right, I guess I'll start back up. But it was, as somebody who was going into it, when I saw all the buzz around it being like, I'm sure just like the first game, this is not going to be for me, and I'll just have to, it's okay. I tried it, and I thought it was very fun. It was very good. And then I tried Absalom, which is a like roguelite sort of beat 'em up. Yeah. I really dug it. I thought it was very cool.
I like the animation style of the cutscenes. Those are nice.
Yes. Yeah. The hand-drawn stuff was very cool. But the actual combos and fighting in it, I dug. I thought it was super fun. And then I got around to trying Ball Pit, which Preston talked about last week. Good. I try the demo. I'm not going to I won't retread it. Everything that Preston said is 100% correct. It is, you do one run and it becomes immediately addicting. It's like Hades. Like, it's, you play it one time and you're like,
yep.
Oh no!
They
like,
got that
it
repeat.
is
so that Halo
addicting.
gameplay mentality is like get 15 seconds of good gameplay and just have it repeated over and over again. Like, they nailed it. They found the good gameplay loop there.
Yes, I can't even. Ugh, it was like I was playing the demo. I did like 4 or 5 runs, and then I was like, and I was looking at the time, and I went, "Fuck! If I keep, I'm not gonna get to any of these other demos." I was like, I have to. I can't.
It's a good one.
It's that game is an instant purchase. It's gonna be great. I also tried Mina the Hollower. I know Preston talked about it last week. I won't touch on that either. Very good. Very, very, very good. Alex, I think you specifically would really like the Mina the Hollower demo. You should check it out. Because I know you really like a lot of that older Zelda stuff. It's very good. One that I don't think, Preston, you got to try was I did Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So the new Ninja Gaiden side scroller that's coming out. Flawless. It was exactly what I want out of a 2D action game.
Okay.
It was perfect. I like the parry mechanics, a lot of the dodge stuff, all the combos, the boss. It is exactly how you like it. It goes just as hard as older Ninja Gaiden games do, but they give you some extra tools to be able to sort of like level it out a little bit. But it was great. It was super hard, but very fun. I dug it. I also tried No, I'm Not a Human. So this is like a Papers, Please style game. It's like really fucked up, but I dug it. So the idea is there's like a giant like pulse, I guess, from the sun that like makes it so that during the day it like burns up, like it's like very hot wherever the sun is facing at on the planet at the time. And so the only time people are allowed to be able to be out in the streets or walk around comfortably without getting blasted is at night. And what happened is in the middle of this, these weird, like, I don't know what to call them. They call them ground walkers, I think. I don't remember what it was. Basically, these underground people that come out and they look just like humans and they take on the form of people, but then they just end up murdering everybody that's around them or whatever. Like, it's just a thing. And so your thing is you are letting people in your house to shelter them from the sunlight. But then every day FEMA comes on the TV and gives you like new guidelines for what these like sort of the murderers will look like, more or less. Like, hey, here's some signs. Like, they'll have red eyes, they'll have dirt under their fingernails still from climbing out of the ground, or they'll do X, Y, or Z, like, whatever it is, right? And so then throughout the day, you only have a certain amount of energy that you can spend on testing the different people and seeing whether or not they're actually humans or not.
Kind of like a citizen sleeper type of deal, to where it's like you only have so many energies per day to do tests, and then you have to go to bed.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, so it's like that, but then Mind Scanners, which Alex, I know you played. It was a game that I got. So it's similar to that sort of style. Same thing like Papers, Please. I think all of them also have like a certain amount of things that you can spend to be able to look or whatever. But it was so. But anyway, at the end of it, if you decide like, the person basically will, like, you'll test them or whatever, and then if you think they're lying, then you just shoot them and drag them outside. It's like this whole thing, and then like people will react to that, and there's like this whole weird story that plays out with it. It's very cool. I dig it. It's very creepy, but I think it's cool. And then the last one I played was Morbid Metal. So Preston, that was one that you recommended as well. Kind of similar to the Dead as Disco thing, like definitely trying to do like a roguelite sort of action thing that they've got going on. I thought it was cool. The only thing that I'll be interested to see what I want to know how long the game is, or like if, because the area that you play through the in the demo is like kind of samey, like it feels like it was all. So I just the only thing that I am wondering about as far as is like the area design, or like how it's like the legs that are on the game, like the story kind of. But as far as gameplay is concerned, and like the loop of getting those abilities and changing all these things, very, very fun.
Yeah, very good.
Yep. And then the only other thing that I've played is I am outside of the final boss in Pirate Yakuza.
Okay.
So I think I can safely give my feelings on it. It's gonna go just fine, just like every other Yakuza game. But I literally am outside the door for the final boss fight. It's fantastic. It's such a this game, and it's funny because Alex and I remember when we talked about this, we didn't know where it was like going to land as far as like the timeline. It picks up like 6 months or so after the events of Yakuza 8. So like what ends up happening throughout this game is this is like the first like follow-up game, or like side game, I guess you could call it, that I think has done this. But like all the side characters you meet, there's some new ones, but almost all the side characters that you meet are ones that were in Infinite Wealth. But it's 6 months later, and it's Majima talking to. But you end up as the player, you get to like see what was going, like what happened to them, what evolved with them, different things like. So it was really cool because it's like this sort of nice little bow that it sort of ties up on everything in 8, just being like, hey, you remember that person that you helped? Well, here's what happened, and here's what they're doing now, right? Like, Alex, you remember in 8, like the coffee shop guys, like the comedy coffee shop dudes or whatever? Yeah. So one of the quests that you go in, and you can recruit them into Majima's pirate crew afterwards, but like, which is so fantastic. But you get to see what it, like, where their coffee shop is at now, what they're doing, like how it's going, all this other stuff. Them doing the stupid little dance for customers still, like that whole thing. It was great. So yeah, I really, really liked it.
It makes you feel like they were like, hey, let's do this DLC for 8. And somebody's like, we don't need a 40-hour DLC on a 150-hour game. They're like, okay, we'll just release it separate.
Yeah. And that's honestly, which is what they did with The Man Who Erased His Name, right? Like that was supposed to originally be DLC for 7, and it ended up they just spun it out to its own thing because it got too big. So I think that's kind of probably what happened here. But it was great, and the pirates, like, there's, obviously the gimmick or the thing is that Majima lost his memory, so then becomes a pirate, and blah blah blah. It's not a spoiler, but obviously Majima gets his memory back at some point. I won't spoil where, what happens, but it's so funny because there's just like little tells that happen throughout the game, but you watch like Majima sort of degrade back into a psycho. Like, it's so weird. It's like usually you see a character have a turn a different way, whereas like Majima without his memory becomes like a regular person, and then and then he starts to degrade back into a fucking psychopath as it goes on when parts of his memory start to come back. It's very funny. Yeah, I thought it was great. I loved it. It was very, very good. So, and as far as, I don't know what I'm going to get into next. I don't know. I've been kind of like...
Same, yeah.
The only thing that I've been doing is I've been going through, so I haven't been able to get anything physical for it yet, but I had, and because Alex and I both interact with Magic in the same way, in that we don't have a sickness like Travis does where he was buying like a fuck ton all of the time, like of any set that was coming out. I don't think he does that anymore, but he used to. He doesn't
do that anymore. Yeah, way back in the day, he has a lot of cards from old cards.
But he used to, Whereas Alex and I, we made a blood pact early on that we were only going to be collecting from the
Lord of the Rings
sets that we cared about. Like,
yes,
there was Lord of the Rings, there's the Warhammer ones, and then now there's the Final Fantasy one.
I didn't even get the Warhammer ones. It was just Lord of the Rings. And
but I mean, like, we know,
right?
like, you have been looking. It's just not you haven't gotten one. But we said, like, yo, we're only gonna collect the ones that are based off things that we care about. Like, I don't like they've had multiple sets since the Lord of the Rings one, and I couldn't even be bothered to care about any of them.
I know they had a Fallout 76. They had a Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who, but I wasn't getting into that one.
Yeah.
They've had a few others. Yeah.
And so because of that, but because I've just been I play randomly still with that Lord of the Rings stuff that we got like ages ago on the digital version of the game, I had so much currency saved up that I was able to just craft the entire Final Fantasy set in the digital version of the game.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and for those who don't know, it's like every single time that you get like a free pack or something like that, or you open up a pack in Arena, I don't know what you call them, but they're like these little tokens or whatever, you know what I mean, Alex? Like this, and it'll be like common, uncommon, rare, right? And it'll be like you can, now if you collect 5 of these tokens, then it turns into like a full one that then you can go and go, okay, cool, I'm gonna go craft this card now or whatever, right? If for whatever reason you were so unlucky that you didn't get it in any of the regular drops. Well, because like when Alex and I were playing, I don't care about any of those other cards, and so I would just stack these fucking tokens forever. And so I was like, okay, well, time to spend them now, because I already had crafted, or not crafted, but I had already gotten the entire Lord of the Rings one ages ago, and it was the only thing that I've ever gotten on a digital version of the game. Outside of like the, whenever I'm playing, it would hand me free cards of whatever. And so yeah, I was like, well, fuck it, I'll just see how far I can get, and then I spent all of them, and it was enough to get the entire set, and I was like, well, job done. Oh, great. So that I was like, cool, I can go online now, and I can play with this only Final Fantasy deck, and sometimes I win, sometimes it's just like the Lord of the Rings one, where it's like, I really don't care, like, for the Lord of the Rings one, I'm still stuck at platinum whatever. Like, I can never get out of it outside of that 1 month that I did.
Because you won't change your deck at all?
Huh?
Because you won't change your deck?
Yeah, because everyone's like, well, you could put other cards in there. I don't want to. Like, and so it's the same thing. I built a Final Fantasy one. And I was like, sick. And then I was messing with it. And I'm sure, I've played against other people who were playing it that were like mixing cards from like the different previous sets or like the standard ones, moving different ones and then putting them into like a Final Fantasy one, and they're like, oh, see, cool, and they'll smoke me, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine, I don't care, I don't want any of those other ones, they're stupid cards, I want the Final Fantasy ones, which I'm sure for like somebody who loves Magic, I'm sure drives them fucking insane, but it's just, it is what it is.
That's funny.
So yeah, so I don't know what I'm gonna. Oh, anyway, that's what I was gonna say was because of that, I think I kind of want to go. I want to try and dig into the Crystal remasters for the older Final Fantasy games.
Final Fantasy,
and hop on some ones that I've never played before, and try to make my way through those.
We have all of those, or no? They're not on Steam. Do we?
We do, comrade.
Right.
Yes, we do. Yes. So yeah, we have. I think between all of us,
we have all but 12
on PC. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
all but 12 on PC, and then
I know I have.
And we don't have 16.
12.
None of us have 16 on PC yet.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because it just came out. Yeah.
I have 12.
15's on there.
I have it preserved, so like whenever I need to play it, I can just pop up the PlayStation 2 and play it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, 12 isn't on there. Although honestly, I should just do it because I want to play through that game again.
I have it on my wish list. I'm just waiting for it to go on sale, so just wait for it.
Yeah, but then there's... Yeah, we have 1 through 6 in the Crystal remasters that I got, and then I think everybody probably has a copy of 7 floating around. I think Jake brought a copy of 8. Or maybe it was you, Alex?
I don't know if I did, because I know I have it on PlayStation. I may have picked it up for like a $4 sale on Steam, but I don't remember, to be honest.
Someone brought a copy of 8. I thought it was Jake, but I could be wrong. But
it may have been
someone
Jake,
brought a copy of 8, and then I have enough copies of 9 to feed an
Alex
army.
has enough copies of 10.
Yeah, and then 10's on there. 11 isn't a thing. We don't have 12. And then Alex bought the first one of 13, but we don't have the sequels to 13. Yeah, and then we have 15. We don't have 16. So we've got most of them.
But there are also things we don't have. Like, we do have tactics, I think, but like we don't have typo and stuff. There are random things on there that we've never.
Well, so Type 0, if you guys want to play that, you can. I am the part of the population that that game made me physically ill, so I will never play that game.
So I had it on PlayStation 2. So biggest disappointment. Very quick story. I had just come off of
3.
They made it for 2 as well, I believe. I'm pretty sure.
Did they do like an old version of it? Jesus Christ. Okay.
I'll Google that to double check. But so I was coming off of 10. I had just gotten a PlayStation 2 not long. My dad took me to the pawn shop because we didn't have a lot of money, and I picked up games. And 10 was one, so I just finished that, coming off of it. And then when Type O came out, I was like, hey, Final Fantasy, like, let me try it. I remember playing Type O for or Type 0, I don't know.
It's
2 hours. 2 hours. I was like, no, this is anyway not what I liked from 10. So bye, and never played it again.
No, that's also fair. That game was like it was like their little stab at like a Persona style Final Fantasy. When to be very fair, anything after 12, and honestly, it was on. I will say actually no. I'll even take it. Even though I really like 12, I'll take it further back. Anything after 10. Square did not know what the fuck they wanted to do with Final Fantasy. They had no fucking idea. And so 12 comes out, and it's like an ode to the tactics style, and it's brought in evilly, so it's the same universe as tactics and everything. I think 12 is fucking amazing, but there was a lot of people who did not jive with it, which is fine. But then ever since then, with Type 0 and all of 13 and 15 and 16... 15 and 16 are the only 2 games out of all of those games that came out after that, after 10, that have some sort of cohesive, shared DNA. Like, you can see in 16, you can see what they were, what the idea was to try to do in 15, right? They just didn't execute on it properly. But you can tell that they were trying to lead in a more action-styled way, and then 16 obviously perfected that. But everything before that was them just being like, I don't know, fuck it, let's try something and see what resonates with people. And
you were right. That was not on PlayStation 2, so it had to have been one of the consoles after.
It was 3 or 360. Yeah. PlayStation 3 or 360. So you probably tried it on 360.
360. That's where it would have been. Yep.
Yeah. It made me sick. That game runs at a frame rate that literally gave me a headache and made my stomach hurt, and I was like, what is happening to me? I legitimately, because I had never gotten a motion sickness or a weird thing before in my life. And so I was sitting there, I played the game for an hour, and my stomach felt like it was upside down, and I had this massive headache. And I paused the game, and I was like, I did, again, because I had never had something like that before, I thought I was getting sick. And so I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, I need to go lay down. I was like, I must be coming down with something, I don't know, whatever, blah blah. I didn't even think in my head that it could be the fucking the game or whatever. And so then I lay down and went to bed, woke up, felt better, and I was like, okay, I think I feel fine. So then I tried to play the game again. 45 minutes in, the exact same thing happened, and I was like, wait a minute. And so I went online, looked it up, and everybody was like, is anybody else wanting to throw up? And I was like, and I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, no, I'm sure that there's fixes for that now for other versions of that game when it got re-released, but I was like, fuck that. I don't want to do it, and it's not worth it. So.
All right. Anything else this week? Nope. Okay. I played one game. Well, I played 2 games. I did the one we're going to talk about later this week for a book club, and then I beat a game this week.
No.
And it's a game I said I was going to beat. No, the game I said I was going to beat. Okay. I beat Death Stranding.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And I don't know where to start on that we can talk about it later. We can do a little spoiler cast and really dive into it. It'd be great to tie in with the Kojima games.
Sure.
Yeah. You just gotta let me know. I'm doing whatever.
I liked it. I did. There were things I didn't like about it, of course, and there were things that I really liked about it. As a whole, I liked it, but just some like quick notable takeaways. First, Christian is right. It is back heavy. And like last week he said, I told him this, like last week he said like fuck all happened between 3 and chapter 9 or episode 9. And I didn't necessarily agree with that playing through because there is content at the end of every chapter, but to his point, like yes, it's very short. But then like, dude, the final 2 chapters are no fighting. Like Preston, for you, like I don't like long cutscenes. This no fighting. It's 2 hours of cutscene. It took me 2 hours to get through the final part of just 2 chapters of cutscene.
Got 2 chapters are just movies.
It's it. That's it. That's all it was. There were 2 pieces of like walking interspersed in between it, but it was like walk for a couple of minutes and then cutscene.
Sure. Yeah.
Very back heavy, but like, dude, there's a couple of things that I haven't gone through all the Metal Gear games, but in my opinion, Clifford, who from the trailer, if you haven't played the game, is like the military guy. It's Mads Mikkelsen's character.
Oh, yeah, it's Mads' character. Yeah.
Is one of the coolest designed characters and bosses I've seen.
I think he's like, as somebody I went through, he's up there. I think he's cool. I think we should do. I think we should save the spoiler cast if you want.
Sure.
If you don't think you'll be able to, or if you want to talk about it sooner, we can. I want to wait until we go through Metal Gear Solid 3 because there's a couple specific things in that game and Death Stranding that I think are comparable in certain ways that I'll talk about that.
Sure.
Whatever. But yeah, if we want, we can do it then.
He has it. This is I guess a bit of a spoiler for Kimberly. His design when you see him like and actually face him because he's in cutscenes and of course like he's a character in the game. When you see him around, he's like in military garb, and then he has through these cables or strands has like 4 skeletons attached to him whenever he pops up, and typically they pop up first and he comes following. And, like, a lot of times he'll just give them little commands, like, let's move forward or whatever. When they do, they just kind of, like, light up with fire. And these skeletons detach and go on. It was a very cool design. I really liked it.
It is cool. The other thing is that there's Higgs, who is the Troy Baker character. Yeah. And this, I don't know, since we've played 2, we can talk about this now. I think Higgs is just... I think he is down there with Vamp. I don't like him. I just from a character, from even when at the end, and we don't have to get into it because we can save it. But like at the end when they go through his motivations, whatever, I'm just like, oh my god, shut the fuck up! Like you suck and you're weird and you're licking people's faces. I don't like you. He did
like the face. I was like, that was unnecessary to animate.
Yeah, and
but
it's just
okay.
like Vamp. Like you just look and you're like, shut up, God, shut up. Like just shut up.
So it's hard to be like I don't like you because the difference between him and Vamp is like 20 years. So even if the character's motivation sucks, it's pretty and it's acted so well that like you're a little forgiving. I do think his motivations were hollow. So like you learn in this game there are terrorists going on in the country and he may or may not be associated with some of those. And you think like, why would you want to change the way things are? And not in like the way that the hero's trying to change them, but like change them for your own ways. But then when you find out, it's like, oh, well, you're just kind of an agent of chaos. Like you don't really have real stuff behind you. So he was
it's like some of those older, like it's like an older JRPG villain or whatever, where it's like, like, why do you want to kill all these people? And he's like, because someone's gotta do it. And you're like,
yes,
okay.
Yes. It was hollow. I will say though, I texted Christian, I liked the fight. Like the fight was good. Again, that game, when you get action sequences, when you're not just running pizza delivery.
Sometimes they're really close together, and sometimes they're hours apart.
Hours. The entirety of Chapter 3, hours apart. Like, But when you're not delivering pizza and you actually have action sequences, the game feels good.
Yeah.
However that plays out. So I liked it. I really did like it. There's, in typical Kojima fashion from what I'm used to now after like 3 games, two games, I guess, not counting 5. He always, I couldn't quite tell where Clifford was going to fit in. And unless you played the game, you don't really know until we do a spoiler cast. We can't really get into it. But Clifford is a unique...
until the last 5 minutes of the fucking game.
I know. But Clifford is a unique perspective in this futuristic world where he's a military guy and doesn't really fit what's going on. And his set pieces are kind of odd. And you just get this feeling like it can't be a Kojima game without some tie to the military. And he has a lot to say about the military all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that is just... He just kind of, like, shoehorns it in even sometimes on his feelings. But yeah, man, the twists and stuff that happened at the end were great. I will say this. My feelings are probably slightly higher playing this game a week before the new one comes out versus finishing this game 2 years ago, because Kojima does a really good job at telling you what's coming and then ends on a hard fucking cliffhanger and goes, have fun waiting 2 hours, but then hides that by a couple of twists and turns for the next 45 minutes of cutscene. So then you finish and you're like, oh, I feel fulfilled. But when you take a step back and you look at it, you're like, well, that just did nothing. Like, we didn't do anything.
Yeah, and there's, yes, and that's kind of the thing too, is that when I look at the trailer for the second one, I'm like, as far as like
I'll have to watch it tonight because I forget. I've seen it,
we can talk about it later. We can talk about it during the spoiler cast. The second one will be out by then, but you get to it and you're like, or when I looked at it, I was like, I mean, this looks dope, but like, I don't understand how this ties into it, because I talked about it last week, but like, the cliffhanger, on the first one is like, it's less of a cliffhanger and more just like a character who kind of points at the stands and is like, I mean, it's like I told you, like, you agree with me. It's like
straight up. Yeah, straight up goes like, yeah, it goes. The character's like, hey, something big is coming, and everything you've worked to stop it. Like, I'm telling you, you can't. You can't, and it's literally there. Like,
yeah, it's coming, and I don't know how many. And the character's like, it could be soon. It could be 10,000 years from now. It could be 100,000 years from now.
The line was it could be 10 or 100,000 years from now.
Yes, and you're like,
you're just like,
and again,
I'll take my chances. I'm 45. I'll take my chances. I've lived a good life.
Because if it's closer to the 100,000 side, you're like, well, I mean,
sounds like not my problem.
It would be fine, I guess. Like, whatever. That's somebody else's problem. But if it's the 10 years from now, then it's like, well, okay. But it's just one of these things where, like, you watch the trailer for the second one, and I was like, okay, I can't. Assuredly, I will figure out how you attempt to tie this in. Yeah. In some way. But there's also a second reveal at the end of like a new character, let's say, and it's like, well, either a lot of time is going to have passed when this sequel starts up, or not that much time. And given the fucking movie poster thing that we got for this game, there's some returning characters, so it can't be that much time. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. It is so polar. Like, the I did chapter 3 last week. It took me a while, right? And then, like, when we got off the pod last week, I was like, hey, I'm gonna power through it. So I don't know, come Friday, I made it past chapter 3, and then it was a sprint to the end because the rest of the chapters are quicker and they're so engaging compared to that you want to play. And like chapter 9, 10, 11, not even 9, mostly 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 have so much good content that I leave it going, I enjoyed that game. With that being said, leading into it, I was like, I'm actually enjoying this stuff. Maybe I would like to do some other stuff, like try and max out my star level or do this. But now I think if I went back to do all that stuff, I would hate this game because all the stuff that I love, the engagements and the fighting and the fun stuff, is in chapter 9 to 14. It's not, and then I would spend another 50 hours doing the unfun stuff, and I would come away from it going like, no, so the best way to enjoy this, do the story, then turn it off and move on, because otherwise it's gonna piss you off.
That's why I'm so interested in what the sequel ends up being, because like,
yeah,
there's very clearly there's no one outside of people like freak checklist people that love just seeing number go up and then box get checked off. Like, there's no one that can come away from that first game and being like, this is so much fun, like those parts, I mean. And so it's like, you have to know when you're going through it, especially from reviews and other things, like, you have to know where the game shined at, or like what its good spots were, right? And so it was like, and with his recent thing of being like, I'm worried that people love this game too much, or whatever the fuck, I feel like it's probably more of those really good moments because he's had so many years to work on it now. And if that's the case, then that's cool. But then it's like, dude, this is only a sequel in so as far as like the characters are here. But if you make it so that this game is barely about fucking having to deal with the shitty delivery thing, and I'm getting way more different sequences of all the other stuff that's going on, I think that it is almost illegal to call this game a sequel, because it's only a sequel insofar as you're telling me a continuing story. But it'd be like if you got Devil May Cry 3 as like the origin point, and then 4 comes out and it's a top-down RTS game, and you're like, word? We sure? Because, okay, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I like some of the twists that happened. I will say it's been a lot. I don't know the last time. Well, I do actually know. We're going to take Expedition 33 out of this conversation completely, because this year we were blessed with a game that has been so unique, it is crazy. Not counting Expedition 33, because this game came out, 2 years ago. I don't know that I've seen a game as well acted as this in a long time. Like, Death Stranding is so well acted with the people they got. It's incredible.
The Jedi games are pretty good with the acting and actual like having the actors in them doing that kind of stuff. All those Jedi games, they're good.
Yeah. I think there's 2 performances that stick out for me as far as like ones that I just thought like every single time they were on screen, I was like, please, I need you to do something more. And it's I did not resonate at all with Fragile. I thought her performances always came off as just like stilted and weird. Like, I just was, and it was like but not in a way that was like weird. Like, it was just like Kojima, where like she's like talking to you and she'll be saying something, and then like a single tear comes down, and then like multiple characters have that multiple times, but it's like this, but there's no emotion. It's just like, here's a tear because of whatever, and and you're like, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then Norman Reedus, I think his performance is awful, like awful. There is no emotion whatsoever. Like, even some of the bigger reveals that would warrant an emotion. Yeah. Like, there's the scene with Unger in the hospital room, and you're, like doing that whole thing.
Big twist, yeah.
Yeah, and it was the most deadpan delivery of every line ever. It was I was just like, dude, I know that this guy's your friend, and that's why you wanted him in this game, which is what he said. Kojima loves Norman Reedus. He wanted him in the game because of that. That's it. I'm hoping that because he went and worked on the game and whatever, I'm hoping that the second one will get a better-ish performance out of him. I thought his performance was god-awful in Death Stranding 1.
I don't know that it was god-awful. With that being said, I watched a lot of Walking Dead, so like, that just is Norman Reedus to me.
But that's not an excuse. I'm sorry, that's not an excuse.
No, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I do agree with you. He wasn't as compelling as some of the other characters.
It's not surprising to you, though.
But there's no emotion. There's no dead. Like, that's not. And like, even if that's like your shtick, get a new shtick. I don't know. Be a different. Like,
he gets paid for the shtick, dog.
Because if any other actor did that, everybody, like, what? As an example, all I fucking heard about Brie Larson during Captain Marvel was how she had no emotion and whatever, and everybody was so fucking upset about her performance as Captain Marvel and whatever. But I guess Norman Reedus gets a pass to make a whole fucking career out of it. Like, there's literal things that happen. It's just like, things happen to his character that would require some emotional range, and he might as well look in the camera and go, okay. And you're like, that's it? And he's like, okay.
Yeah. He does.
Right
He definitely,
on, dude.
He definitely doesn't have the chops the others have. I thought Mads Mikkelsen was an absolute standout. I thought
Crushed it.
The girl that played Mama was good.
Yep.
I thought the guy that played Heartman, first of all, I loved his
absolutely crushed
his thing, and he was great. And then the guy, the one actor who I don't
even thought
actually
Guillermo
know
del
his
Toro's
name.
character was good.
Guillermo did good as well, right? But I will say the voice acting and the just general acting from the guy that wears the Die Hardman,
Yeah.
he killed it too. Like there was
That's another example of why I think Norman Reedus' character fucking sucks. At the end of this game, you have that whole scene with Die Hardman where he is fucking letting it
crying,
rip.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just an emotion. You hear his voice cracking and all this other stuff. And Norman Reedus literally just goes, I don't care. And then just walks away.
Yeah,
And you're like,
he you know what? I didn't think about it, but he does with a very similar deadpan. He says a line, this will mean nothing to anybody that hasn't played. He goes, here, she said the gun won't do anything here anyway. And just walks
and then
away.
walks off. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
Really? And
Yeah.
like, and I want to, if I was in the room, I would look over at Kojima and be like, you gonna let old boy just get away with this? Like, bro, he is robbing you. Like,
Yeah.
It probably took, I guarantee you, for Norman Reedus' lines, he did no more than one take, unless he actually mispronounced a word. Otherwise, he said it, and then someone goes, just from the back with a thumbs up, like, you nailed it, keep moving to the next line, and didn't even fucking blink. Like, meanwhile, I'm sure every other, like, to get the performance you got out of the dude that played Die Hardman, like I said, he's, like, to Alex, but he's crying, his voice is cracking in the middle of it, he's doing this whole thing, and Sam was just like, anyways, goodbye, and then just walks off like a fucking robot, and you're like, okay, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I can't wait to actually like dive in and talk about it. The two last things I'll say about this before we move on is, not counting Expedition 33 again, this game has also an incredible soundtrack. Like one of the best I've heard in a long time until Expedition 33. Like I thought the soundtrack was incredible. This
is actually one of the things that we can stop after this because I know we just keep going, but with the soundtrack things, I agree with you, only to a point though, in that the game interrupts itself with its soundtrack so fucking often that I think I have never been more enraged in a long time trying to experience a moment. So what I'm getting is that
I never felt that way. Okay.
So there's so many moments in the back half of the game where you will be doing a delivery and then the soundtrack starts, and it'll be either a track from La Roar or somebody, and it helps you resonate with whatever is about to go down at this delivery in a major way. And I think it's a slam dunk every single time they do it. However, in the middle of that, if for whatever reason something happens, like a person drives by, like whatever, it could be any event that happens in the open world while you're driving and trying to do this thing, they cut the soundtrack immediately.
Oh, it stops. I'll give you that.
It stops, and then you have to do whatever is going, and then it never comes back. It does not come back.
I did that, Christian. I'll give you a quick example. In the final chapter, where you were on your way to end the game, you're taking a package to a place, and this game, Preston, literally crescendos with this song. There's this theme that plays. I didn't take the left because my marker went away and ran straight, and the song ended. Like, it played all the way through. Now, if you would have gone the right way, it's probably timed where most people arrive at their destination by the time the song ends. I did not. It ended, and it never came back on. So then I ran around for 10 minutes, and like it was just silent. That I will actually give you that. That's a good point.
It's so infuriating because you kneecap these moments that this is my personal I think as soon as you are at a point where the soundtrack kicks on, nothing else should happen in the game. I don't want to see a mule come by. I don't want to see a BT. I don't want to see anything. Let me just be in that moment. Like I can obviously I still have to deal with the hazards of everything, like climbing and whatever. Otherwise, shut up. Don't interrupt me. Like you set up, Alex, to your point, like that end one is so infuriating to me too, because the same thing happened to me. It is the track and everything is so good, and you're coming through this like walking through this valley going up, and you're just like, damn, like it is a moment that does not happen very often in many video games, and you're just like, everything's firing right now, it's good, and the track ends, there's nothing you can fucking do about it, and you're like, okay, I guess, and then you're left with just dead silence and hearing Sam fucking stumble and go, oh fuck, and then like come back and whatever, and you're just like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, and it happens again through all those back moments. Like I had one where like a storm started and then a BT showed up and it was like, okay, fuck, and so I have to deal with that. I kill it, I move on, and then the soundtrack never comes back. And it's like, so fuck me. Like you just and when I look online, it happens to everybody. There's not a single, unless you ahead of time knew the route to take so that nothing happened and you took like this really long roundabout way. But even then, the song ends before you get to the destination, and so that's what happens at like the end too. And it's like, bro, just what are we doing? Like, stop fucking these moments up, like, because they're so perfect. Like, there are moments that
there's so many things you could do to like looping it. I actually think is the most the most inefficient way to do it. I think what you should do is you run to your destination, and regardless of your path taken, when the song ends, it's almost like on the beach, it fades, and you're just teleported to where you need to.
Sure,
right?
I'd
like
even take that. I would take that too.
They ran your path.
Yep, that's
like
fine.
you ran your path, and boom, that you're there. And that would be really efficient and a way to build that moment.
They even have they do this in a game that I don't even like that much, frankly. But like Metal Gear Solid 5, they have a moment where he solved this before, where you're in the car with like the villain or whatever, and there's a song playing and doing all this stuff. You're just not in control. The car is driving, and you are just in that moment and doing it. I don't really give a fuck. I'm fine with any of those things, as long as you don't kneecap your own moment to me, where now, like, what would have came away as, like, this perfect moment that I would remember, now I'm like, yeah, it was really good all the way up until it wasn't. Like, it made me so... Because it's not just a thing that happens once. It happens outside of the first one, where in the beginning of the game, like, the very beginning, when the first low roar track still comes on, and you're taking... Yeah. This part's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but when you're taking the president's body to the incinerator, it's the only time you don't get interrupted. That track lasts the entire way that you get there, drop the body off, and then as soon as you walk up on the building, the track fades away, and you're like, this is awesome. Like, great. And then every single one after that gets interrupted. Or ends too early. And you're like, okay, thanks.
For better or worse... It was a Kojima game, and the thing I will give Kojima, and the thing I liked about this, and I think the thing that drives me to keep playing these Metal Gear games that we're playing, is that whether it lands or not, he does things that I've never seen anybody do. We've seen it in the trailer, right, with like the whales on the beach. We know, like, there's not much story-wise that gives reason that they're there, need to be there, but they're there. And that's what it is, right? And it's just like, for better or worse, man, it is unique and creative. Now, the only thing that scares me as to what you guys said, Christian, what you said, which is, he's like, hey, we play tested too, and everybody loved it. Like, loved it, which to me means a perfect game isn't decisive enough to make people remember it. So he's gone back in the story and changed things narrative-wise based off what... supposedly, so we'll see. I don't know what that. Because
to be fair, he says that, but again, this could just be classic Kojima bait. Like, we actually have no idea, because he's like, like Blockbuster, bro. Up until 5, when you got fired before it was able to be released, all you made was blockbusters. Like,
yes, that's true.
You made blockbusters and system sellers. The only reason the PS3 even had anything to sell at launch was because people were buying it for your video game. Like, all you've done in your life is make blockbusters. Outside, and the only thing that you can addend to that is the 2 Zone of the Enders games. And even then, they became these little niche, like, cult classics that people liked, which is, according to his own, that's what he's looking for.
That's what he wants,
But Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4 were generational video games every single time they came out and sold systems and sold... They were the only thing in Konami that made money. Like, that's all you did was print money for people. That's the whole reason you got a blank check from Sony was because of your history. So, yeah, I don't... Him being like, I don't know, too many people like it. Like, it's like, that's... And in fact, the only... Up until Death Stranding, you never had a divisive game. Everybody liked your stuff. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So that's my week. I beat it. I'm happy I beat it. I liked it. And even with that, I have so many thoughts on just everything from the music.
We should do a spoiler cast after 3.
Literally
everything.
everything.
It'd be fun.
Cool. All right. Well, there's that. So thank you all for hanging out on this very long weekly episode. But don't forget to check in with us later this week as we dive into our first Video Game Book Club episode of Tomb Raider 1, though we're playing the remastered edition. So thanks, everybody. And with that, Preston, you know what to do.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or to check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If watching is more your thing, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@thetestingroom, or watch us live on twitch.tv/testingroomlive. To leave comments or ask questions, you can follow us on Instagram @testingroompod, leave a comment on YouTube, or send them in to testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.